All right, Uncle Spud and Appa joke a lot that we were born into child labor. And to a certain extent, it is a joke, but to a certain extent, it's not. We always had hammers or shovels, or we were always getting put to work, which is probably wise on Graham's part. But one day, we got the task of going down and demoing a shed that was in the backyard. And so Uncle Spud and I rolled down to start to demo this shed. And when we got down there, we ripped off just one of the first shingles as a starting point. We were living in Connecticut. We had a pretty decent sized yard. And as we ripped off this first shingle, behind the shingle, we found there was this black scaly strip. And we looked at it and we realized it was a snake. And for some reason we thought, we realized what it was doing, and that it was probably sunning itself in the triangle area behind each shingle that was formed between the shingle and the wall. And it was basically absorbing the sun from the shingles as the sun would hit the side of the shed. So we immediately thought, okay, this whole shed could be snakes. And so we knocked out all 4 windows, and we made ourselves a snake terrarium pit thing, if you want. And then proceeded to go about demoing the shed. And as we would rip off a shingle, inevitably we'd find a snake, grab the snake, and put it in our snake pit. And by the end of the day, we had a lot of snakes. I'm talking Indiana Jones style. The whole ground was crawling. I think we tried to count. It was hard. I think we ended up counting something like 32 different snakes of, all kinds of different kinds of snakes. But what happened was, it all of a sudden dawned on us. Somebody had once told us, be careful with the baby snakes, because sometimes it's hard to tell what kind of snake it is and whether or not it's poisonous or not. And so all of a sudden, Uncle Spud and I had this epiphany. We're like, we didn't know what kind of snakes we'd caught. And oh yeah, we didn't have gloves on. And we had also been bitten a lot. And so Uncle Spud and I, we beeline it to the house as fast as we can. There's no internet, there's no Google, Ask Jeeves, nothing. But we had this giant Encyclopedia Britannica collection. And I remember we were just scrambling through all of the pages of this encyclopedia collection, trying to find pictures of all the different snakes when they were babies, trying to figure out if the snakes that we had were poisonous or not. We were freaking out. It was awesome. Ultimately, in the end, luckily we ended up not having any poisonous snakes. And so we just had a large collection of all kinds of different friendly snakes from Connecticut. And when we went back and kind of took a look at our snake pit, we actually eventually later that day, or maybe the next day, we let them all go, right? And ultimately, generally speaking, whenever we caught animals, we would keep them as pets for a little while and let them go. But we let all of the snakes go except for one, Slimy, who we kept. He was like one of the biggest ones, the garter snakes. And we already knew a fair bit about snakes, but we learned a lot about, what they smell like, because the pheromones they secrete, all that kind of stuff, because we were basically covered in it. And as a fun thing, always between, brothers type thing, Uncle Spud and I went back and we counted our snake bites from the day. It's kind of like a tally. How did we do today? Forget demoing the shed, right? It's all about the snakes. And we went back and we counted, and Appa had 16 snake bites all over my hands and my lower arms. And Uncle Spud had 32. And like I said, I can still remember looking at him, counting the pairs of fangs and everything that we had been hit with. But anyways, that's our demolition snake bite story.